You told me something earlier on when we were off camera. So your father is a pianist.
Yeah.
And you said that he used to wake up in the morning and play.
He just plays.
Yeah, yeah,
He just plays. Like, no end in sight, no journey here, just playing.
Yeah, yeah. That's such a beautiful thing.
That is literally, that's how he woke up most mornings. Like,
Yeah.
he would just go sit down. And it's so funny because when I think about it back then, I used to be annoyed by it, especially on
But
Saturdays.
now you appreciate it.
Yeah. He doesn't even know like how much that does for me.
Welcome back to another episode of Afro Soul Stories. This week we have a wonderful guest who hails from Port Harcourt?
Lagos by way of
Lagos
Port Harcourt.
by way of Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
He is a singer, he is a rapper, he is a multi-instrumentalist. His music is a combination of Afro Fusion, Afro Soul, and Neo Soul. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gbogboade. How are you, man?
I'm all right, thank you.
Yeah.
That was a really good intro. I felt very special.
We try.
I'm well.
Cool, man. Thank you so much for coming down.
Hey, thank you for having me here. I'm very excited.
Yeah. So please tell us about yourself, growing up, life in music, and how you got into music. Yeah.
I grew up in a mixture of Port Harcourt and Lagos, Nigeria. I was born in Port Harcourt.
Mm-hmm.
My family is from Lagos, and so you know how that thing goes where Christmases and all the long holidays are spent with the extended family, and so you're in Lagos.
Mm-hmm.
But then Port Harcourt is a quieter environment, so like for the nuclear family.
Setting up a meet, you're stepping up to me. Trouble with no borders, but good enough for me. Oh, you like jewelry. How much do you really need?
So let's talk about African influence in music,
Yes.
musically. I know we talked off camera a little bit. So obviously Fela Kuti, Gbogboade. Now I hear a lot of Sade in your music as well.
Yes.
And a lot of people internationally don't realize that Sade is Nigerian, or half Nigerian, half British. And I hear a lot of soul influences and neo soul influences. Yeah. So who were you listening to growing
You know
up?
what's funny?
Go on.
She shares the same exact name as my mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they're both Fola Sade, and of course I knew about Sade like as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And yes, I think I get a lot of soul from Sade and D'Angelo.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when I discovered, not discovered per se, but when I really got into D'Angelo and I finally felt like there was an identity for people like me.
Yeah.
In terms of, I never view life as this whole rah-rah thing. I'm not that type of man. I've always been a lot more on the soulful side of things. I've always been a lot more about personalities and frequencies and, like there's a lot going on in the world, but what's your soul like?
Yes. Yeah.
When I meet you, what kind of vibe do you give off?
Yeah.
And it's usually more than meets the eye if you're really tuned into the frequencies of, the whole thing. But as far as that goes, yes, Sade has a certain level of elegance that I like.
Yeah.
I've always said I prefer sensual over sexy.
Yes, yeah, and she is one of the most sort of attractive people.
Exactly.
With elegance, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
just,
it's like I am able to have this attraction, but I can give you depth.
Yes, yeah.
So you might come to me because, Sade in this instance, you're coming to her because you like what you see, but then you like what you hear.
You stay because you like what you
Exactly.
hear. Yeah.
And it is so smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth is probably the biggest compliment you can pay me as an artist.
I think your music is very smooth. Yeah, we're gonna get to the
so
specifics
much.
of music. Yeah.
So D'Angelo, Sade, Curtis Mayfield,
Yeah.
Marvin.
These are great. You're talking my language here. We're taking some boxes.
Man, they do something to my brain chemistry.
Yeah.
And then because it's like half my brain is a lot more African, half my brain is a lot more on the soul side.
Yeah.
But can't forget Miss Lauryn Hill.
Of course. Yeah.
And I think there's also something understated about how much I picked from Kanye's samples because they were soul samples.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's probably what spoke to me a lot more and got me into listening to a lot of soul artists.
Yeah.
Who am I forgetting? I'll probably remember in a bit.
There's a whole list.
There's a whole host.
Yeah.
But as far as African music goes, oh man, Fela Kuti just even feels like something everyone
says. Yeah.
You know,
but I mean, being from Nigeria, being from Lagos, that's an enormous part of the music scene.
But the thing is, even, you know, I think because I understand the road he traveled a bit more, as you know, the older I get, especially because, you know, he got shipped here,
Of course.
study, go back, you know,
Expectations from family, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I got shipped here, you know, studied, went back. Well, I ain't going back.
Back and forth.
back and forth. But I think what I really admire about him was it's the same thing I picked up from Kanye at the time, which is I like people making me feel like I also have a say in things. You know, I wake up in the morning and decide my own affairs. I wake up in the morning and decide, okay, wait, you're not gonna give me human rights. It's my bloody right.
You have to
You know,
take, you
exactly,
have to
like,
make your own path.
You know, because there are people who go through life looking for who to, you know, bully, so to speak. And if you are not self-aware enough to realize it in real time, you'll be a victim without knowing you're a victim until you leave the situation and you're like, wait, hang on. You know, but like...
What's the phrase? Is it lions or lambs?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's it. And he just had this whole personality of, well, I am going to tell you who you are so that when you go outside, no one is going to tell you. You know, like, and every now and then the African side of me jumps out and is like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not a gentleman.
Do you know, there's something really interesting is there's a few books about it and a few people who talk about it, but the world is made up of, I think it's 10%, 5 or 10% leaders, 5 or 10% observers, and then the rest are followers. So the world needs leaders, and all you have to do is lead.
Take it.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the followers are just as important.
Of course, yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
There's also the aspect of the fact that, you know, we're all leaders and followers in different
aspects of our lives,
you
yeah.
know, so much information in the world means that we have to, by default, ascribe or we leave a lot of people to think for us in aspects of life that we don't necessarily care too much about. You know, if a tech bro is telling me something about the latest tech, I'm going to take their word.
You're going to
for
listen,
it.
yeah.
You know, I'm not even going to argue with you
Yeah,
because
of course,
I just presume that you're not going to be lying to me and you know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. I love the Marcus Brownlee podcast.
Precisely.
I listen to that all day long. I'm like, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah,
Exactly. Like,
he's done the research.
I can outsource my thinking to you. I trust you that much. Like, I think, and that's why I was talking about respect, because respect is the highest form of appreciation you can give to anyone doing anything, a professional of any kind, because it implies trust.
Yes, of course, yeah.
You know, if you respect me as an artist, it means that you trust that whatever I'm going to give you, whether you feel like it's different from what you heard the last time or, you know, even consistent, at least you know that I'm actually trying to do something here. Let me cook. You know? And so, Fela had that spirit, you know, that spirit that transcended everything else. Has.
Still,
You know,
it's
Zombie still
everlasting.
Zombie still evokes a certain kind of energy from me. I know, like, how my commute feels in the morning when
You listen.
I'm listening. Yeah. You know, even, and this is before he's even put one vocal down. The instruments are doing all the talking.
All the talking, yeah. And I mean, the days of 8-10 minute long songs, you know, albums that were 3 songs long but still full albums. Yeah.
You know what's so funny is that my mum heard my most recent song. It's called Bastard on a streaming platform near you.
Yeah, we'll get that graphics coming.
She was like, I really like the vibe you're going for now, but now make it 10 minutes.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, I honestly feel like, you know, even getting to a point where my mother can hear my music and not necessarily even feel, what's the word? There's a parental pride, obviously,
yes,
but there's also like, okay, I'm actually listening to my son as an artist.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
you know, she calls me Sade Jr., which is like a double of her and Sade.
Fantastic.
because she said the same thing. She heard Rendezvous and she was like, "This is Sade."
Yeah.
And again, that's probably one of the highest compliments anyone could pay me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to your music, for a while now, and I think that there is something really, really interesting in the way that you do your vocal arrangements. Actually, I really like the vocal arrangements, and lyrically, they're very relatable. But yeah, in the feel, there's a really, really nice feel there. Yeah,
I think, and I was thinking about this. It's a frequent thought actually. I often think that the fact that I started school so early in general has made me age a lot faster than I probably should, or people expect me to.
Yeah.
But I also think that I find it cool because that means I get to just arrive at that age.
yeah,
I don't have to feel like when you're making timeless music, it's always going to be relevant.
yes, yeah.
I don't need to, people are not going to hear the song and be like, oh, he was clearly 17 then.
Yeah, that and it really, it's interesting. That's a great statement when you're making timeless music. It's true because there are certain genres that are very much of their time. There are certain artists who are very much going to be popular for however many years, and then there's timeless music. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And it's like, I'll be here for a while.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
here for a while. Worst case, I'll go learn another instrument. I'll be back.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
I'll be
that.
back with a bass. I need to learn the bass.
Bass is a great instrument.
Oh, it controls the vibe. It
yeah,
controls everything.
I play guitar, bass, and small piano, but yeah.
The bass is... Oof, that is the foundation.
Yeah.
That is the foundation. A good bass and percussions. Oof.
Yeah.
Maxwell. That's
There
what I
you
was
go.
trying
That's
to
the other
remember.
one. Yeah,
Maxwell.
yeah.
Maxwell. Those
Amazing.
Brazilian percussions.
Yeah.
Oof.
We see all that stuff's very similar to African percussion as well.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think my whole idea of music changed when I heard a song called Complex of Killing a Man by an artist called Black Odyssey.
Okay.
Black Odyssey is very interesting because they're a band with a frontman who I think identifies as Black Odyssey. And they make different ranges of music or different genres of music, so to speak. But you can always tell when you hear it that thought went into this.
Yeah.
And I remember the reason why it stuck out to me was because I had my Spotify on shuffle and the algorithm took over at some point. And I remember when I heard the song, and I remember, obviously now I know it wasn't falsetto, but I remember in my in hindsight, I was thinking, wait, did I just hear someone rapping falsetto?
I've got to listen to this now.
Are we allowed to do this?
I think you can do anything. Yeah.
And it was more so the fact that I didn't realize, like that was the moment for me that made me realize there were no rules.
Yeah.
You could just make your music. You
Yeah.
don't have to, as many influences as you pull together, you don't have to make exactly what they make. You have you can take it and interpret it the way you want. And so I started getting into Black Odyssey's music, and then I heard an album called Diamonds and Freaks.
Cool. I've got to listen to this. Yeah.
Oh man, I still think that's my album of the decade.
Oh, I'm going to listen to this, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of instruments going on. That was when I needed to learn the saxophone.
Fantastic.
Because now I heard the saxophone in a different way. It was used more like parsley as opposed to the whole thing. It was like, I'm just going to throw this here,
A little sprinkle here,
a little ear pan,
Yeah.
You might catch a trumpet, the flute, and he's just playing this production game. I think he executive produced Rhapsody's album as well.
Very cool.
So like he's like an actual he's a really good producer. Black Odyssey.
I've got to check this out.
Yeah,
Wow.
oh man, I say they, Black Odyssey, the band, the person, look, they know what they're doing. Let's just put it that way. And that was where, like, that when I talk about altering my brain chemistry,
Yeah.
that song did it for me. I don't know why I got into the story, but
No, it's very cool. Very cool. Have you heard of TV on the Radio?
TV on the radio,
American band. The front man is American with Nigerian heritage. Really interesting band.
I will go check.
I highly recommend checking them out. Yeah.
I will go check. It out.
They've straddled the world of sort of, I would say, I don't know, indie rock, but then there's a lot of soul to it. There's amazing lyricist, amazing music.
I remember. I'm going to check that out. But I remember now why I mentioned Black Odyssey.
Go on.
It's because you said that the percussions or the instruments
Yes,
were
yeah.
similar, and that's because I heard Black Odyssey make an Afrobeat song with Buju Benton.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, sometimes when people make Afrobeat songs, you know what I mean. There's usually, we could tell you're going for Afrobeats. Like,
Yeah.
we can tell, like, you're doing the scientific formula thing where it's okay, 5-beat pattern, boom, 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 and it's like, yeah, exactly, and like there's nothing more to it. But where a Nigerian artist would use pidgin, he used Spanish.
Fantastic.
And
Yeah,
I was
there's a great correlation between
Exactly, the
reggaeton
Latin
and
and-
Latino. Yeah.
And I was like, that's exactly, like, that's how I know you know what you're doing. Because now you've taken it to your space and it doesn't feel like you're out of place.
Yeah.
Because then Benson comes on and he sings in pidgin and it doesn't feel like the song is disconnected. It doesn't feel like you're a tourist here.
Yeah.
It feels because you've owned it.
Yeah. Do you know, I had the producer Tempo on recently, and he's been doing some work with a Spanish artist called Rendezvous.
Okay.
And it fits perfectly.
Exactly.
And, you know, the one of the things about Spotify, I have my love-hate for Spotify, but one of the good things about streaming services is it has made music very global, very accessible to everybody, all types of music. And I think once that's happened, the sort of hegemony of Western music has fallen to the wayside because people realize that they love reggaeton, they love Latino music, they love Afrobeats, they love K-pop, you know what I mean? And it's just opened the world to all genres, and it's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
I was saying that we're going back to that space now where everyone is finding their artist.
Exactly, yeah.
And gatekeeping too.
Yeah,
everyone is now going back to actually having their personality shine through, or finding someone who matches their vibe a lot more.
Yeah.
And holding it closer to their chest. I think live music is coming back.
It has to.
We're tired of microwave music.
Yeah, and I think the pandemic, had, there was a sort of lull, and then there's this huge desire for communication and live music again.
Soul.
Yeah.
Anything that cuts through.
Yeah.
People need to feel something.
Yeah.
More people are touching grass.
Yeah. And it's like just being around others and being able to communicate and experience that feeling.
It's like, but with AI now, like, I think in the next 10 years, like, people will be going back to, people are already going back to, like, craft work.
Do you know, I was having a conversation with someone about this the other day, and I think I have a very strong opinion about this, actually. I think that music, with the advent of, computers and the fact that for the last 15, 20 years, we can realistically produce an album from our, bedrooms, shall we say.
Yeah.
And that can be very high quality.
Yeah.
I think that production is going to go towards a real DIY feel. And I think away from this sort of very polished AI thing, I think production's going to get very raw.
Yeah.
Have you heard the album by Dijon?
Yeah.
Dijon? Yeah, he did that in his front room.
That also altered my brain chemistry.
Yeah.
Because I saw the YouTube video.
Yeah, and it's literally that he's got a regular house in sort of California, and he's got a dinner table and just instruments everywhere.
Yeah.
And that vibe of just being able to create as much as possible, as often as possible, from wherever, and having those little imperfections in there,
Yeah.
so people know this was made by a human.
Exactly.
And I think that's the way forward.
It's like the era of like having garage parties with bands and all of that. Like it's all coming back because again, people need to feel something. I'm quite excited for that. This is again why like I would keep trying to learn as many instruments as possible. Yeah. Just because you never know.
You surprise yourself.
Standing on the edge of the line before it all breaks down. I'm gunning for a taste of divine. The world stops when I open up my eyes. You know I'm not a non-quitter. You know I'm but an old sinner. I fit to disappoint you, to do the things I want to, and I'm just hoping you can understand my ways. Basta, is all you call me. Basta, is all I am to you. Basta, all this time I spent on you.
Now, so I've been listening to a lot of your music recently. Now, you've released 2 EPs, sorry,
Yes.
should we say, in 2025.
Yes.
So talk to me about how those came about. Which one was first? Was
Where Do We Go?
Where Do We Go was first, and then Flavor was second?
Yes, Flavor.
Cool. So talk to me about how these came about. I mean, they're 3 tracks each, which I think is the perfect EP length, actually, in the modern world.
Yeah.
Because it's a starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think somewhere between my now confessed need for respect and somewhere between my need to control my narrative, I found that, because they often say don't make a project until people know who you are, but I wanted people to know who I was through a project.
Yeah, of course. That's how you kind of do it.
I needed to shape a narrative, especially if you do so many different genres, so to speak. Like, if you know you're a singer who's capable of rapping and you want to show a bit more on the production side, you want to do a bit more instrument here and there, I just thought the best way to do it would be to put it in a pack.
To do it.
Exactly, to do it.
Yeah.
And Where Do We Go, I think I made when I was in a transition between Kent and London. And I had
That's such
listened...
a random statement for a Nigerian man. When I was between Kent and London.
Yeah. Look, sometimes every now and then, like every time I come back from a gig, because every now and then a friend will call me and be like, I'm performing, can you back me up with the sax or something?
Yeah.
I come back and I'm hanging out with my friend and he's like, he's Nigerian as well. He's like, we grew up in Nigeria, bro. Like, these conversations are so far left. Because this is not like the typical Nigerian story in that sense. But yeah, I was in transition between Kent and London, and I was listening a lot to Solange, A Seat at the Table. And Where Do We Go is a song on there. But I think in the abstract sense, I really just loved how the album made me feel. Because again, it wasn't proselytizing, it wasn't preaching in my ears. It was just really good melodies and her getting her shit off. You know, I was picking up what she was putting down. Let's put it that way. But then I was also in a space in my life where I was trying to make sense of my inability to commit. Mostly because this is Nigerian in me, but like, I believe in evil eye. And I often believe that if you're not vigilant enough, people can knock you off your square. Like,
Yeah.
And so it's more so you don't want to get thrown off your game, so you can't afford to get too committed until you really know a person, type of thing. And so that's where you have a song like Wake Me Up.
Cool.
Because, well, clearly I'm falling asleep and losing my guard. You know, so wake me up from this because I don't need this right now. Which actually is funny because If I Fall is the song that comes next. And I wrote that song this is when I was applying for my permanent residency. I'm a permanent resident, so, you know, we got over that hump. But I remember I was in that space where I was thinking, if it was rejected for any reason, I'm pretty much living out of a suitcase. I'll be back in Lagos tomorrow.
Yeah, you got to reassess. Yeah.
And so that's another reason why I couldn't commit, because I couldn't imagine, you know, just putting anyone through that. You know, like I was saying to you a bit earlier, your responsibilities increase as you get older.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I had taken this as my personal risk. You know, no dependence, nothing. Let me go through this shit myself so I don't have to drag anyone through that mud. And If I Fall was a song I made when I was trying to just make sense of that reality. Like, my suitcase was packed. All I had was a trumpet and a dream.
That's beautiful, man.
It was beautiful when I finished the song. Because in that moment, this was 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm just trying to... Because I have really bad hyper OCD. So I wake up randomly, like, with, like, really nervous...
I write all my shit at 2 in the morning. Yeah.
Exactly. And I couldn't sleep, so I was just trying to make sense of my reality. And then I wrote If I Fall.
Cool.
But it was also written through the lens of, I think on the first verse, we're talking about just trying to see through, like, what's going on, you know. And I'm just trying to even make sense of this reality. Like, if I stop swimming, I'm gonna drown.
Yeah.
But I need to swim alone because otherwise you could weigh me down as well.
Yeah.
And so
I'm loving all this imagery, man. I really am. No, I really am.
It took everything in me at that point. And I was yeah, I was just in that space where I was trying to make sure that I didn't involve anyone in rubbish. Let's call it
Yeah.
that. But where do we go is, so you said all of this, you set the scene, you've been woken up from this dream, but you're also conscious of the fact that you could fall if, you had to go through like a heartbreak or it's like the last thing I need right now is anything to knock me again off my game. Because then I could easily end up back in Lagos. And Lagos, I love Lagos, but I had experienced so much in terms of discovering who I was that I couldn't let the fun end. Let's put it that way.
I think, when you're, and this is for anybody from anywhere, when you are with your family and your immediate people that you grew up with, there is a certain person that you are.
Exactly.
Once you go to either university or you get your first job in an apartment or whatever, you discover who you are on your own. With there's reinvention. There's a natural reinvention from travel.
And you find your tribe. Like you really, again, like I said, in Nigeria, I'll probably be considered a bit more eccentric, and not to say they're not people like exactly like me in Nigeria, but, I feel like if I had moved back at that point, it would have been me, again, that whole sense of duty. I would have moved back and in my head, it would be purely law school, go home, go work with dad.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I'm half American. My mum's American. And I had grown up a little bit in Ghana as a child. Then we moved here and, I did the whole British boarding school and all that kind of thing. And I often feel, again, I have three different things because I could have grown up in America and I could have grown up in Ghana. And I often feel what my life would be like if I had grown up in either of those places. Because,
very different.
Yeah, very, very different.
Very different. And, not good or bad either. Just
very different.
Just a thing. And so the question was, where do we go from here?
Setting up a meet. You're stepping up to me. Trouble with no borders, but good enough for me. Oh, you like jewelry.
But this is great. This is pure artistry because you are utilizing the creative process to go through your emotional.
I was unpacking.
Yeah.
I was unpacking. I was saying to a friend like 2 months ago, because he had listened to some of the music that I have coming out soon, and he was like, and he repeated one of the lines, and I was like, oftentimes I forget people could actually hear me.
You're
because
thinking out loud.
Like I was thinking that okay, maybe this is not so audible because and then you're writing everything like as you heard it, and I'm like,
that's perfect.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure we have little snippets of the music come up, so we'll have like little 20-second slots.
Don't worry, you'll be excited. And then because both EPs are a month apart.
Yes, and then Flavor. No, is it Flavor?
Flavor.
Yeah, it is Flavor, yes. Yeah.
Flavor. So when the sun shines, the Nigerian man in me screams. Nigerian man in me screams. Like most people who know me personally know that if I'm with like my Nigerian crew, chances are you might not hear me just speak English.
Yeah.
I'm always speaking pidgin. Like that is who I am at my core.
Yeah, standard. Yeah.
And so Flavor is where that part of me jumps out. The part of me that loves a good groove. The part of me that loves percussion so much. I mean, the percussion's on Where Do We Go because I can't help it. But Flavor is a bit more experimental in the world music category.
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we were having slightly off camera. African music now has so many different categories and so many different influences. 20, 30 years ago, it was world music, which I do not like. Now, Afrobeat seems to encapsulate a lot of things from West Africa, but there is Afro Fusion, there is Afro Soul, there is Afro Jazz. There is a lot of sort of strange Afro indie stuff coming out now. Yeah. And I think, again, with the positive side of streaming services, is that now kids in West Africa are listening to rock music. And they're listening to this and they're listening to that. And that's very cool.
And they're going for it.
Yeah.
That's I think that's the dream of any creative or artist, just seeing people, because it's inspiring. We feed off each other in that sense. And like you said, a lot of these influences are like they're interwoven with African music as well. It's not so far of a reach to play with Brazilian funk.
Oh God, no, but Brazilian music and Cuban, that's all Afro-influenced music. It's all
Exactly.
Afro-Latino music,
Yes,
you know.
exactly.
And I think that I had a conversation with an ethnomusicologist 2 weeks ago, which will be one of the episodes that comes out. In fact, that episode is before your episode, so it'll be the previous episode. And he's written a book about the migratory pattern of both instruments from the Western countries coming to Africa, and then how African musicians utilize those instruments, and then the rhythms traveling across the Atlantic to South America. And there's this fantastic...
it's a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we're throwing it back and forth as ping pong.
Yeah. One of the things that I found out recently that I'm surprised I didn't realize was that Fela Kuti's grandfather was a minister.
Yeah.
And
Josiah, I think was his name.
I don't know. I'm going to find
That
out.
might be his dad. But both his father and grandfather were in the church. And I think his grandfather was the first West African to record a song.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that when you have the, I guess, Anglican hymnals, which would have come from the British bringing that...
Crowder.
The
Ajayi Crowder.
Yeah. In African languages, because of the tonality of the African languages, the inflection means so much. So therefore, those hymns had to be changed, and that created a whole new thing.
Yeah. A whole new language.
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough to be said about the interpretation of a lot of biblical things, you know, and what that means for us, you know, particularly regarding our deities, and you know, that's a much larger conversation.
A whole different conversation. Yeah.
Like, I think it was Chinua Achebe that said when English was brought to Nigeria, they didn't know we were going to do unheard of things with it.
Oh gosh, you know, there was something I was listening to the other day that West Africans use all of the English language. Yeah. There was like in England, people say, "Oh, nice clothes," but in West Africa, someone might say something, "Oh, I like your apparel."
Yeah.
But it's about, I think there's the poetry in language, and again, being able to combine, you know, English and pidgin, and
Hello, you call me. Is all I had to you. All this time I spent on you.
recent single before we sign off. So it is called
Bastard.
Yeah. How did this come about? Why is it called Bastard?
Oh, as most things come about, I was listening to D'Angelo.
There you go.
I was listening to Shit That Motherfucker again.
There you go.
And anyone that knows about Shit That Motherfucker knows it's a hood story, as far as African American hoods go. And it is very domestically violent, if we're being honest. But it's not, you know, D'Angelo isn't speaking necessarily from that perspective as much as he's holding a mirror to society. And he's showing, you know, he's giving a glimpse into how things really go down if you walk in in the hood, his hood, and catch your partner cheating. Now both of you are shot, and the person's getting arrested.
I remember this, yeah.
I remember listening to the song and thinking, you know, how do I tell a Nigerian story in the same manner where this is just as much my experience as it is every other Nigerian man, but doing it in the most Nigerian way possible, which is, I was listening to Ever Wanting by Maxwell.
Okay.
And I really loved his percussions and the chord progressions. And I remember making a beat around that. But Bastard as a story is about a man who is cheating on his lady, but it's one of those stories where you choose to focus a lot more on why you're being spoken to in a certain manner as opposed to what you're being accused of. So the chorus is sang in pidgin. You know, it goes, bastard, inside world, you carry woman, begin find church. It's like, you have a problem, go to a church. But you're hung up on the fact that you just call me a bastard. Again, you genuinely feel sorry for this character, despite the fact that he's the one that's doing
wrong.
Exactly.
Cool, man. I think we've covered everything, man.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. It's been a lovely conversation.
This has been so amazing.
Yeah,
this has been really, really amazing.
Yeah, it's been really good to learn more about the way your brain works, and and we'll have some of the bits of music coming throughout the conversation.
Sweet.
Nice one, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. Lovely.